What if I told you that everything you think is solid, the chair you're sitting on, the phone in your hand, even your own body, is actually 99.999% empty space? It sounds like science fiction, but it's the bizarre reality our universe is built on. The story of how we figured that out is a wild ride through some of the most brilliant minds and shocking discoveries in human history. Forget the dusty textbooks and impossible equations for a minute. I know physics can seem intimidating, but at its heart, it's just a story of human curiosity. We're about to count down the 10 biggest aha moments that completely flipped our understanding of reality on its head. This isn't just a list, it's a journey through the ideas that built the modern world. And trust me, the discovery that lands at number 3 is so strange that even the genius who came up with it thought it had to be a mistake. You won't want to miss that. 10 Archimedes Principle. Let's start more than 2,000 years ago in a bathtub. You've probably heard the story of the Greek thinker Archimedes. The king asked him to figure out if his crown was pure gold without damaging it. Stumped, Archimedes went for a bath. As he got in, he noticed the water level rise and it hit him. The volume of the water that spilled out was equal to the volume of his body submerged in it. He supposedly ran through the streets naked, shouting, "Eureka! I have found it." This simple observation about buoyancy didn't just solve the king's problem. It was one of the first times someone applied a logical, testable physical principle to solve a real-world problem. It was the birth of a method. 9. Heliocentrism. For thousands of years, one thing was obvious. The Earth was the center of everything. The sun, moon, and stars all marched across the sky, circling us. But then, in the 1500s, a Polish astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus did the math. He realized that the messy, complicated movements of the planets made perfect sense if you put the sun at the center. However, his idea was so radical, it was dangerous. It took another century for Galileo Galilei, with his new telescope, to see the moons of Jupiter and the phases of Venus, providing the first real proof. This discovery didn't just rearrange the solar system, it rearranged humanity's place in it. We weren't the center of the universe anymore. 8. The laws of thermodynamics. This one sounds a bit academic, but these laws govern literally everything. They are the universe's non-negotiable rules about energy. The first law says you can't create or destroy energy, only change its form. The second law is the big one. It states that things naturally go from order to chaos, a concept called entropy. Your hot coffee will always get cold. Your tidy room will always get messy. These simple rules, figured out during the age of steam engines, don't just explain how engines work. They explain why stars shine and even predict the eventual heat death of the universe itself. 7. Maxwell's unification of electromagnetism. In the 19th century, electricity and magnetism seemed like two separate, mysterious forces. But a Scottish physicist named James Clerk Maxwell was a true genius. He created a set of 4 beautiful equations that showed they were actually two sides of the same coin: electromagnetism. But his equations predicted something else: a ripple in this electromagnetic field that traveled at a specific speed. When he calculated that speed, it turned out to be the speed of light. In that moment, he realized that light itself was an electromagnetic wave. This discovery is the reason you have Wi-Fi, radio, and cell phones today. 6. The discovery of the atom. For centuries, the idea of an atom, a tiny, indivisible piece of stuff, was just a philosophical guess. Then, in the early 20th century, Ernest Rutherford decided to shoot tiny alpha particles at a super-thin sheet of gold foil. He expected them all to pass right through, and most did. But every once in a while, one would bounce straight back, which he said was as if you fired a 15-inch shell at a piece of tissue paper and it came back and hit you. This could only mean one thing. The atom was mostly empty space, with a tiny, dense, positively charged nucleus at its center. The solid world dissolved into a ghostly dance of particles. 5. Quantum mechanics. And this is where things get really weird. As physicists looked closer at Rutherford's atom, the old rules broke down completely. They discovered that energy wasn't smooth and continuous. It came in little packets called quanta. An electron couldn't be just anywhere around a nucleus. It existed in specific energy levels and could jump between them instantly. This led to quantum mechanics, the rulebook for the very small. It's a world of probabilities, not certainties, where particles can be in multiple places at once. It's the science behind lasers, computers, and nuclear energy. 4. Hubble's law and the expanding universe. For most of history, we assumed the universe was static and eternal. But in the 1920s, astronomer Edwin Hubble was looking at distant galaxies. He noticed something strange. Almost all of them were moving away from us, and the farther away they were, the faster they were moving. The conclusion was inescapable. The entire universe is expanding. This discovery was the first piece of evidence for the Big Bang, suggesting that everything, all of space, time, and matter, burst into existence from a single point billions of years ago. 3. Einstein's general relativity. Here's the mind bender I promised. Isaac Newton had described gravity as a mysterious force pulling objects together. But Albert Einstein had a different idea. What if gravity wasn't a force at all? In his theory of general relativity, he proposed that massive objects, like the sun, literally bend and warp the fabric of space-time around them. Planets aren't being pulled. They are just following the straightest possible path through this curved space, like a marble rolling around a bowling ball sitting on a trampoline. This bizarre idea predicted that even light would bend around massive objects, a fact that was later proven and underpins our understanding of black holes and GPS technology. 2. The standard model of particle physics. If you wanted to build a universe, what ingredients would you need? For the past 50 years, physicists have been building a recipe book called the Standard Model. It's a stunningly successful theory that describes all the known fundamental particles, like quarks, electrons, and photons, and the forces that govern them. It's our best picture yet of what matter is made of. The final missing piece, the Higgs boson, the particle that gives other particles mass, was finally discovered in 2012, completing one of the most incredible intellectual achievements in human history. 1. Newton's laws of motion and universal gravitation. Why is this number 1? Because it was the beginning of modern physics. Before Isaac Newton, we had rules for the heavens and rules for the earth. But with his 3 simple laws of motion and his law of universal gravitation, Newton showed that the same force that makes an apple fall from a tree is the one that holds the moon in orbit around the Earth. For the first time, humanity had a universal mathematical framework to describe and predict the workings of the cosmos. It gave us the power to understand the world in a way no one ever had before. So, from a simple bath to the fabric of space-time, these discoveries have completely reshaped our world. They remind us that reality is often far stranger and more wonderful than we can imagine. If this journey through the universe's biggest secrets made you look at the world a little differently, hit that subscribe button right now. Let me know in the comments which discovery completely blew your mind the most. Let's keep the curiosity going.